What is up, my Forever Free Space community? This week we decided to do something a little bit different for our video because of travels. At the end of every video, we usually ask our guests to give an entrepreneurial gem for up-and-coming entrepreneurs or just the next guest. So we decided to put together a compilation of those videos, that and just some funny stories that we had, or even some heartwarming stories from our guests. So as we wrap up season 2, I hope you enjoy this video. It's about 16 minutes long. And as always, we are on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Continue to join our community because we promise the best is yet to come.
What's up, our Forever Free community? This is Pete Moriello. We just want to say thank you for being part of this community. Me and my partner Joey, we put this together for like-minded individuals who have focused on overcoming obstacles to reach their goals. That's what Forever Free Space is all about. That's why this podcast allows us to interview guests that are motivated and have a like-mind, a goal. So we're putting together all the gems our guests have dropped so you can stay motivated, maybe use these little tools to help you keep reaching for higher and keep reaching for better.
One thing we would like to do, Assam, before we let you go, is we want to, whenever we have a guest on here, we want you to give, let's say the next guest or just the next entrepreneur coming up, a gem. What would be your favorite gem to give them?
I love this one. I was just talking to my son about this today. And again, KL, he's the other person, the righteous mob, the one I was just speaking about. And one thing we always like to say is that there's luck. There's a such thing as a luck. And luck is when the opportunity meets the prepared.
Wow.
Nice, I like
Luck
it.
is when the opportunity meets the prepared.
I like it.
I like that.
So if you're prepared and the opportunity shows itself,
Right.
that's what luck is.
Got it.
So
Where can we find you on social media?
Oh, Asan the Golden Child, which is AHSAN, the Golden Child. AHSAN, the Golden Child.
Certain clientele, certain product, and you know where you're going,
Right.
so it's easier path to,
Right, you got to
to
map
follow.
out what you're doing. what
And
you
it could be
want.
both. It could be both. You just
Yeah.
got to identify which one are you.
Right. So, Mike, when we have a guest here, we like them to leave a gem for the next guest.
Ooh.
Now, you've already given us 2 good ones,
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you have.
but I know you got one more.
Leave a gem for the
Yeah.
next guest?
Yeah.
What kind of guest you going to have next?
Could be anybody.
Man, I tell everybody, man, my coach Frank, he tells me all the time, he goes, listen, when we're going through a problem, or we're going through a situation, I'm going through a couple now with some projects we're working on, you know, he says to me all the time, he goes, Mike, clear the calculator. Stop, take a step back, clear the calculator. Pretend like you're in a sauna, close your eyes, you're in a warm place. He goes, if you were on stage right now telling 500 people how you're going to accomplish this, what's that story look like? And then we talk it out. Talk out what that story, how are you going to give the advice to someone on what you're about to go through?
Right.
And if you give the advice to yourself as if you're going to give it to someone else,
Right.
you also
can
potentially
take it
have the
in.
roadmap.
You can take it in. I like it.
I like that one.
I
too.
like it.
You
That's a
have the
good one.
roadmap.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So I live in northern Jersey. For those who don't know, I live on the Rockland and Bergen County border of
Yeah.
New Jersey. So that from the George Washington Bridge, which you would need to get across to get onto or into the boroughs of New York, particularly Long Island, you have to get through two bridges.
Yeah.
That's a 35-minute ride just to the bridge. So I typically, when I have a meeting in there, I'll go in the night before, have a dinner, and just get a good night's sleep,
Right.
and then go to my meeting. So that's what I did, and was in early last night and got into bed early. Was ready for my meetings. I had a 10 o'clock and then a 12:30, both on Long Island, about 30 minutes apart. And when I go to get into my car this morning, I woke up, I got my cardio in, got my workout in. Got back to the
Still
room,
managed to work
showered.
out.
Yeah,
Love it.
managed to get the workout and had a really great workout actually. And took my shower, got myself dressed, got down to the car. I hit the start button and the car's dead. And
Shit.
again, I was only 15 minutes from from my meeting space,
Right.
so I was fortunate enough. I said, okay, I have this meeting and then that meeting. But what I did is I called an Uber, got myself over to the first meeting. Took an Uber to the second meeting.
Yep.
Took
Switch
an
the
Uber
mindset.
back.
Yeah.
But a couple things there, right? Because, and I want to share this because it's about perspective
Please.
and it's about reality.
Yes.
And I'm going to share a story, and I hope I don't get choked up sharing it. But
If you do, it's reality.
yeah. So I get into the car. I get into the first Uber ride this morning, and I requested a quiet ride. It was actually Lyft.
Yeah.
I don't know if I haven't used Uber in a while. I
Yeah.
actually took a Lyft.
Oh, that's
So I requested a quiet ride, and when I got in the car, I contacted my assistant. I said, "Listen, I'm just letting you know I'm having some car trouble. I may need you to call Joyce and let her know that I may not make it on time."
Okay.
And she said, "Okay, no problem. Just forward me the email so I have her phone number." I get in the car, and I request a quiet ride. And the gentleman didn't say boo. Really didn't say a word. He didn't say anything. So I stopped, and something made me want to ask him how he was doing. So I said, "How are you today?" And he said, "Thank you for asking. I'm okay." He said, "You requested a quiet ride, so I didn't want to say anything, you know." And I said, "Yeah." I said, I got in from New Jersey yesterday. I have a couple of meetings today. I said, and I went in to start my car, and the battery's dead.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." So I waited a few minutes, and I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Oh, Iran." I said, "Okay." He said, "I've been here 6 months." I said, "Really?" He said, "We lost a lot of our family with the war that's going on, He said, "So it was really just my wife and I left, so we decided to come to America to have a better opportunity for our future family."
Right.
I said, "Well, that's amazing." I said, "That's great. I hope it all works out for you. Welcome to America."
Right.
And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm not sure about the family part, And I said, "Well, why not?" He was a pretty young guy.
Right.
I didn't ask him how old he was. He said, "Well, my wife was diagnosed with cancer a couple weeks
Oh
ago."
my
Oh,
God.
wow. It's horrible.
So, again, now I'm sitting in the back of that car,
Plus,
and
there's
I'm
a
going,
perspective.
here I am requesting a quiet ride because my battery wouldn't
Right.
start.
Doesn't
Right.
seem so big.
Long Island, couple hours away from home at worst, But geez, this guy's out here trying to make a living, and he's gotten, what would be the most horrifying news
Yeah.
ever for most people.
Yeah.
But again, just the perspective that you need, because as soon as I heard that,
It switched your mindset.
I was just like, this is going to be a great day.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And, it's, for me, the honor of being able to open for an artist like Miss Hill, who I think is just a completely legendary, iconic person. And
Yes.
you mentioned earlier, she has one studio album that's come out, but she
Yeah.
also has the Unplugged album, which I think has aged better than people thought it was going to.
Yeah,
It's such
absolutely.
Right.
it's such an emotionally raw record, and it's such an interesting window into who she is as an artist and where she was at that time. But for me, I feel like the least I can do is give the people that ride with her, that still respect and love her, that show up for her, the
Mhm.
least I can do is give them an experience and also reflect like what a deep honor and privilege and joy it is to not only do what I love, but for someone on that level who's very intentional about everything they do.
Yeah, that
Miss Hill's
caliber
very
is
intentional
crazy.
about every single thing, about every musician that's on the stage, about every, the sequencing of everything, her look, like everything is so intentional. And
Right.
because I know that she intentionally invites me, and I never take it for granted either, right? Because again, I'm a contract artist, right? I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
She could change her mind, I could change my mind, right? But
Absolutely.
Right.
while I'm there, I have to honor the epic like nature
Right.
of what it means to be
Right.
on stage with somebody who, one album or 50 albums made a great piece of art that will withstand the test of time.
Absolutely. I want to know, for everybody who is tuning in right now, who wants to know what is going on with Ava Cowan, what would you like people to know about you? It could be anything, what you're doing now, what's going on with you, who you are, what you're doing. What's going on with Ava Cowan? What would you like everybody to know?
I would like you to know I made it, and you don't know what I made it through, but somehow I will be able to convey through a series of stories of events that I personally experienced And I knew when I experienced these events that I would somehow be sitting right here, right now. And I'd be able to draw upon them to share an experience. I think I'm going to be very useful in guiding people through overcoming certain things that a lot of people are possibly going to go through, or they're at the next stage of their evolution or the next lesson they want to learn. And I'm the guide that's going to guide them there, and they will know, I don't have to, the language I'm speaking, they'll go, oh, that's my language. And, then I have the background in the, nutrition and getting people ready for stage as natural competitors. And in that, being able to do that, I can get anybody in shape, and I care. So all of this is back and enriched with my heart, and embodying unconditional love and being. That's what I'm doing in everything that I do.
Yeah.
So Jay, whenever we have someone here, we don't know who the next guest is going to be, but we'd like the guest that's here to leave a gem for the next guest.
Boy.
I know you got something
Leave a gem for the next person.
in the entrepreneurial realm.
Yeah. I think I would say no matter what, if there's one thing you do before you leave this life, I think there's something to be said for the people that you love, to leave something that literally takes their breath away in a good way. Meaning, whether it's writing a book, whether it's right now I'm working on a kind of putting together a digital, I take a lot of photos. And I've been taking stuff of the kids over time where I can go back and pull pieces together. And I think that if I was to say something that really makes a difference from an entrepreneurial perspective,
Yeah.
I don't care whether you have a quote unquote nuclear family, not whatever, but most of us as human beings and most of us as entrepreneurs we do like to make money, we do like to be successful,
Right.
but we also like to makes your life matter. And so what I would say is look for an opportunity, whether it's publishing a book, creating some kind of a digital portfolio, something to leave to the people that you love, because it can become a catalyst for them to do something. And I think that's really, I think that's probably, if I had to say the thing that I'm most proud of, that I love my kids and my wife and I model for them, is that everybody's got something wonderful inside of them. And, whenever I can, I'm always trying to remember to remind anybody in the family, look, that's a really good thing. You might want to think about doing that. It's going to make a difference in other people's lives. So I think that would be the gem. What can you leave to people first that you really love? Because it's going to be something you're going to really pay attention to. And I think there's a big ripple effect that'll happen, because you don't know when you work on something how all of a sudden somebody sees. I have that happen to me all the time. Something I thought was insignificant, somebody's like, oh my God, that was so helpful.
Right.
I'm going to do this. Not the same thing I did, but it's going to be something that's going to be like tag, what I kind of like tag you're it. Somebody's going to take off with it.
Like I'm out.
Beth, where can people find you online?
Beth Neidick everywhere. BethNeidick.com, on every platform. I'm Beth Neidick. And
Neidick is NYDICK.
NY, New York.
I just wanted to spell that.
Dick. That's how you say it. I know. I'm married. I love him. Thank God he's cute. But I want to say to your listeners, honestly, if they have a question, DM me. I answer my own DMs.
Well, we are not finished with you yet. We have one more little thing. We like to ask our guest here to give the next guest, whoever it's going to be, you don't know, but a gem.
A gem.
Entrepreneurial gem.
I'm going to go back to my gut. That message in your gut that you're not telling anybody, but that's the thing you need to be speaking on. Yeah. Ask them what it is.
I love it.
Nice.
If I remember correctly, is your brother Garrett Fisher?
Yeah, so my brother's Garrett.
He was CrossFitter as well?
Yeah, so he competed back in 2013, took 5th place at the CrossFit Games as an individual, and he's been to the CrossFit Games a couple times as an individual. He was one of the strongest guys in CrossFit when he was competing.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, when Rick Ross lost all that weight. Wasn't Garrett his trainer?
Yeah, so my brother was Rick Ross's trainer.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my God, I just popped in my head.
Yeah.
I was like, why do I remember him training Rick Ross?
Yeah, I actually went and trained Rick Ross with my brother
Oh, you
one
did?
of the days. Yeah, so I went and met Rick Ross and his homies or friends or whatever you want to call them.
His boys?
His boys. Yeah, his boys.
How was that?
It was a different experience. He was like smoking weed mid back squat sets.
Was he eating wings?
No, but I'm pretty sure he probably ordered some wings after the training session.
Definitely. I remember on Twitter, somebody said, you just lost all that weight to him. Why are you still eating wings? Because he was put in there. And that's when he promoted your brother, Garrett.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know Garrett did not tell him to eat them wings.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That is a very cool story.
Yeah. So, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, you get to a point where you're very passionate about what you're doing, whether it's, making T-shirts or, driving a bus or being a cook. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's like, you have to really enjoy the nuances of it. I remember have you ever watched the Defiant Ones?
No.
Okay. It's probably my favorite documentary. It's about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre.
Oh, wow.
And it's on HBO.
Yes, I did see that. I didn't know the name of it. I did see that.
Yeah. It's incredible. I fucking loved it. And there was one.
That's when they were telling us about the Beats by Dre, right? About the design and everything.
Yeah,
I did see that.
And when they both became billionaires and stuff.
Yes.
And what I thought was so cool was here's this guy who's filthy rich, right? And he was, had all these guys underneath him. Like Dr. Dre was incredible. He would go in the studio by himself, right? 30, 40, 50, 60 years. He's almost 60 years old now.
Yeah.
This guy goes in there and he just mashes up beats and plays with sounds and does it. And it's like he loves the nuance of what he's actually doing, of the game that he plays. He's like fully committed to what he's doing. And I do the same thing. Yeah. And I do the same thing. Like people are always like, where do you come up with these stupid exercises? I'm like, I'm just in here all the time.